So then, George Russell has finally been signed to the Mercedes Formula 1 team. However, let's be honest, if you didn't see this coming by now, you're just a f***ing idiot. Hey there guys, I'm Will and welcome to FP1, and with the news that #blessed, we partnered alongside George Russell for the 2022 Formula 1 season, I want to delve deep into the reasons why Mercedes have made this change in the first place. Before we get into all that, however, if you are new to the channel and enjoy the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We're trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so it would really help me out. But let's not waste any more time and get into why George Russell is the perfect fit for Mercedes in 2022. Throw in that title card. So usually at this point I'd outline Russell's junior career, but I've already done that in an older video on the channel. So if you're interested, I'll pop a link to that in the description and a card in the top corner of this one. But here, let's just go over his time since entering Formula 1. George joined the sport on the eve of the 2019 season, having just beaten Lando Norris to the Formula 2 championship the year before. However, out of the 3 rookies to join the grid that year, Russell would find himself stuck at the Williams Formula 1 team, which was great if you lived in the 1980s. This would instead turn out to be arguably Williams' worst year in its history, failing to get their car ready for the start of pre-season testing, and then when it finally did hit the track, it was about as competitive as me if I tried to take part in the Hunger Games. The only real competition then for George would be his teammate, who that year turned out to be veteran driver Robert Kubica, former race winner and highly regarded driver by many on the grid. So that's at least a good benchmark for George, right? Well, Kubica hadn't raced in Formula 1 since the 2010 season, after a rally incident in 2011 left him with minimal use of one hand. That meant that Robert's return was, and still is, a phenomenal achievement. His pace, though, well, it was a bit shit. This made it very hard to judge George's true ability in his rookie year. However, the fact he managed to out-qualify Kubica at every event was a good early sign. Robert did end up beating George in the championship, however, having clinched what is to date Williams' last point at the German Grand Prix, though that race was more like one of Pastor Maldonado's wet dreams. 2020 would roll along then, and George had a new teammate in Canadian Nicholas Latifi, who was pretty good in Formula 2. Though I'm sure that cash helped sweeten the deal a little bit. Despite the team's title sponsor Rocket f***ing off before the start of the season, Williams did at least show up with a more competitive car. It was still shit mind, but slightly less shit than the year before. This allowed Mr. Saturday to begin to show the F1 world what he could do. Though his race pace wasn't fantastic, Russell got the Williams into Q2 9 times over the course of the year. And we can't talk about 2020 without mentioning that race in Sakhir, where #blessed was ruled out having contracted COVID-19, and George Russell was drafted into the Mercedes as his replacement. Now, although this was a massive opportunity for the youngster, no one was really expecting George to be fighting with Porridge Man here for the win, given how the Mercedes was so different compared to the Williams he's used to driving. Hell, George wasn't even able to wear the right size of race boot, his feet too big to fit into Hamilton's cockpit. However, come Saturday qualifying, Russell lapped just 300 slower than Bottas to line up alongside him on the front row for Sunday's race. And yes, you could argue that the Bahrain outer loop was the shortest circuit on the calendar and the gaps would naturally be smaller, but it's still a mega achievement. Fast forward to Sunday, and Russell got Bottas in the run down towards turn 1, before comfortably leading up front until Mercedes forgot they were Mercedes and made one of the biggest mistakes in F1 history since Haas announced Nikita Mazepin as one of its drivers. Despite having to pit again though, Russell fought his way back into contention until a slow puncture caused another pit stop. And don't worry F1 Twitter, I was crying along with you. Even though George broke the record for the worst luck in a single Grand Prix, the mark he made in F1 was there to stay. And rumours of Porridge Man being moved aside for the Brits have never really faded since that fateful night in the desert. And to think after everything, we almost didn't see the man on the grid at all in 2021, with Perez widely tipped to replace him until Alex Albon torpedoed his Red Bull, along with his career, into the wall a few too many times. Now in 2021, Williams had made another step forward. That said, jumping ahead of Haas is hardly an achievement right now. Nevertheless, Russell has continued to outqualify his teammate at every single race, bar his one-off appearance in the Mercedes in Sakhir. And though his shock podium in Belgium came due to F1 cars being impossible to drive after a molecule of water hits the track, let's not forget that he still pulled it out of the bag on the Saturday. Meanwhile, Bottas has arguably had his worst season with Mercedes to date, and that's saying something after not winning a single race in 2018. Valtteri's growing frustrations with the team, like his radio exchange in France and less than helpful attitude towards Hamilton in Spain, seem to suggest he almost knew he was on the way out. Add to that the fact that he was sat racing the Alfa Romeos in Baku, it's pretty clear who the better option for Mercedes is at this point, on just pace alone. Hey, maybe Valtteri is just preparing for his season with them next year, who knows? And we're actually in the rare scenario here where we've seen Russell and Bottas go toe-to-toe in the same machinery already, back in the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix. Even there, Valtteri had the clear advantage, given his experience with the team and the car, Yet despite that, it was obvious who had more pace at the end of the day. But Mercedes' choice of George Russell goes much deeper than that. Back at the Austrian Grand Prix, it was announced that Lewis Hamilton had signed a new 2-year deal with the team, extending his stay there till at least the end of 2023. And I say at least, however I'm pretty confident that this will be Hamilton's last couple of years in the sport before retirement. Mercedes therefore need to start thinking about the future of that team. And is the answer a 31-year-old Finnish man who's known more as a meme than a racing driver? I just don't think so. Bottas may have been able to do enough when the team was clear of the field, but now they actually have challenges to contend with. The Finns not been picking up the results, need to keep Mercedes consistently in the constructors' fight. At the end of the day, George has proven that he's better than Bottas despite being much younger and not likely even yet in his prime. So with now 3 years experience in Formula 1, it's really a no-brainer to get him into that main team. That gives him 2 years to learn alongside Hamilton, and then the opportunity to take over as the lead role in that team if the 7-time champion decides to call it a day after 2023. But hey, those are just my thoughts on why George has been picked up by Mercedes for next year. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, if you ended up enjoying the video, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Like I said at the start, we're aiming to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of 2021, so if you can help us out with that, I would really appreciate it. And if you want to hear even more from me, then you can find me on Twitter and join our growing Discord community, links for which you can find in the description below this video. Anyway, that's all from me. I'll see you soon with another video, but until then, have a good one.